including a summary, so that all our Spanish-speaking friends know exactly about what I'm talking. But then please allow me to change back to English, because the whole topic I'm going to speak about, took place in a court in Scotland. Now, es un gran placer y un gran honor poder participar en esta conferencia, en esta casa tan tradicional y tan simbólica para nuestros estudios, y de casualidad está también Pier Felice al lado mío, de cual siempre Pier Felice me dice: Carlos, ese es el ejemplo de cómo tendrían que ser las instituciones heráldicas y que se ocupan de temas de nobleza. Ese es el mejor ejemplo que tenemos en el mundo.
Es el único.
Ok, es el único. Y no sé si ustedes se han dado cuenta, pero creo que se les pasó. Él hoy dijo una cosa en una reunión, dijo, y creo que la mayoría no lo entendió porque lo dijo en italiano, dijo: la Real Asociación es mi novia, dijo. Mi novia, ustedes no se dieron cuenta, fidanzata, dijo, es mi fidanzata. For the English, the Real Association is my fiancé. That's what he says about this organization. So I find it quite clear and interesting.
I am married. I am married, but I have the permission from Lori.
Por este motivo deseo expresar mi agradecimiento de poder participar. Es siempre un gran, como ya he dicho, un gran honor estar con ustedes. Al mismo tiempo es un poco embarazante para mí hablar en presencia de Elizabeth Rhodes, que es la Lord Lyon Clerk. Ella sabe mejor que yo de lo que yo voy a hablar, así que me va a tener que soportar. Y además deseo aclarar que y eso me parece una cosa importante cuando hablamos delante de gente y cuando escribimos artículos, también de explicar si tenemos algunos intereses personales de tipo muy personal. El interés general, por supuesto, lo tenemos, pero si hay interés, a veces hay intereses personales o políticos o algunos pensamientos, y para decirlo claramente, yo voy a referir sobre algo que pasó después del 2004, cuando se adoptó la ley de abolición del Feudal Tenure, como se llama en inglés. Mi título es de mucho antes, es de los años 90, y contrariamente a lo que se piensa, que uno tiene que comprar los títulos, no, uno los puede heredar, y la otra manera también es, por supuesto, que alguien se lo dé, ¿no? Y en mi caso, yo no pagué un centavo porque me lo dio la Orden, the Most Venerable Order of St. John. Y era tan complicado el sistema jurídico que yo tuve que asegurar, cuando me lo regalaron, que si la vendía, le tenía que dar la mitad de lo que recibía a la orden de vuelta. El otro día justamente estaba mirando los papeles y lo leí nuevamente porque no estaba seguro después de tanto tiempo, pero realmente fue así, porque el sistema legal inglés determina que para que haya un traspaso en el contrato tiene que haber lo que se llama consideration. Consideration es, tenés que dar algo a cambio, una manzana, dinero, una botella de whisky, lo que sea. Y por eso la manera de hacer eso era que yo tenía que entregarle, si la vendía nuevamente, la mitad del importe. Dicho esto, contrariamente a lo que todo el mundo piensa, que en el año 2000 en Escocia se adoptó la ley de abolición del feudalismo, del sistema feudal de propiedades. Esto no es totalmente así. Lo que hicieron es, lo que se abolió, lo que se derogó, es el sistema, digamos así, de cómo las propiedades están reguladas. Hasta ese momento, todas las propiedades, y más que nada en lo que se refiere a las baronías, eran prácticamente propiedad de la corona, y la corona se la daba a un superior, y el superior se lo daba a un vasallo. Y bueno, por supuesto, esto imponía a todos los que compraban terrenos tener que pagar siempre unas tasas mínimas, pero también tipos de derecho de que si uno quería pescar, etcétera, etcétera. Y eso era muy, muy complicado y bueno, se pensó que ya estaba un poco fuera de moda en el año 2000 y por eso la intención era más que nada en la parte inmobiliaria. Y por eso, en la sección 3 o el parágrafo 3, dicho en términos generales, establece claramente dicha ley que los títulos de varones no son derogados o abolidos, sino que pueden ser transferidos como propiedad incorporal, siempre, por supuesto, de acuerdo al Scottish Land Law. Pero se han convertido en el entretiempo en una propiedad incorporal, que es una dignidad al final del día.
Como todos los títulos de nobleza en el mundo.
Sí, una dignidad, es como todos los títulos. Gracias por aclarar. El importante detalle en toda esta discusión es que muchos creen que tener el título, porque lo compró o se lo regalaron, como en ciertos casos no muy común, el tener ese título comporta tener inmediatamente el derecho a ser reconocido automáticamente. Todos creen eso. Tengo título, me lo reconocen. Y eso no es verdad, eso no es correcto. Y por suerte, y eso es lo que es la ironía de la historia, la persona que en Escocia prácticamente llevó este mercado de títulos es la que provocó justamente que estos títulos no tengan ese valor. Pier Felice conoce todas estas cosas también. ¿Por qué? Porque fueron al tribunal, a la Court of Session, como se llaman, pidiendo que el juez reconociese que tener el título le daba inmediatamente, tener la propiedad de la baronía, le daba inmediatamente el título. Y lo que los jueces le dijeron es que estaban equivocados, que lamentablemente el Lord Lyon tiene una gran discreción cuando decide sobre estos títulos, porque se trata de un acto de gracia. Acto de gracia, como hacen los americanos, es algo muy poco común en el derecho. ¿Por qué? Porque no encaja en el derecho, porque es algo que está fuera del derecho. Y ese acto de gracia es algo que lo decide únicamente Lord Lyon como representante de la reina o de la corona, como uno quiera. Pues bien, podemos hablar tan claramente, tan tajantemente, y son cosas que no siempre son así, justamente porque tuvimos la suerte de que una jueza le gustó el tema, parece, o alguien le ha dicho que era necesario aclarar una vez por todas cómo era la situación legal, y que no es una sentencia, es una opinión. ¿Por qué una opinión? Porque no nos olvidemos que de un lado está Lord Lyon, que prácticamente representa al Estado también. Por eso que hacer una sentencia contra el Estado mismo es algo un poquito complicado. Por eso que se trata de una opinión y la gente se confió de que de esa manera iban a solucionar y aclarar el tema. Voy a hacer mi artículo está organizado un poco más para juristas y yo creo que eso los va a aburrir bastante. Y por ese motivo he cambiado un poquito el orden. Lo que voy a hacer es darle una introducción general en inglés. Ahora sí, después voy a cambiar al inglés. Después les voy a decir algo sobre lo que es una Scottish Feudal Barony, como se llama. Después les voy a decir algo sobre Lord Lyon, que unos cuantos de ustedes ya saben. Más que nada, no solo que es un heraldo de Estado, él tiene otras facultades también. Y después, lo que ustedes hasta aquí enviando es lo que ha tratado el comerciante más grande de títulos, ha tratado de conseguir con este contrato. Y después de que vemos el contrato, les voy a explicar cómo fue el análisis jurídico y llegaremos a las conclusiones. Voy a tratar de apurarme porque veo que ya están todos un poquito menos atentos. ¿Qué?
¿Cómo?
No lo puedo evitar. No, disculpen. Okay. One of the most remarkable judicial decisions, more accurately an opinion, handed down by the Court of Session of Scotland, was delivered by Lady Judge Wolfe, that's his surname, the question of whether Lord Lyon, King of Arms, had a legal obligation enforceable by judicial action to recognize an application holding a dignity of a barony as a noble feudal baron. After submission of both notes of arguments as well as joint statements of legal principle, and after 3 days long court hearing, the court came to the conclusion that Lord Lyon, King of Arms, has a wide discretion to recognize an applicant, and such discretion represents an act of grace which can only be challenged in the Court of Session on the grounds of public law. So the only exception is public law. Public law means ordre public, means it has to go against the absolute ethical principles in, I was about to say Western Europe, I say Europe this time. Lord Lyon exercises his discretion as a result of the royal prerogative going back as far as the Officers of Arms Act from 1587, it's not really a new one, in which it was established that Lord Lyon had the power to grant arms to virtuous and well-deserving persons. I repeat, virtuous and well-deserving persons. Yo creo que esto lo entienden todos. Letters patent, que es la matrícula, a formal title deed from the crown granting the arms and ultimately the noble title baron. The background to the proceedings is a writ submitted by a Miss Hamilton. I will explain that in a few minutes after explaining what feudal baronies are. And coming back to the fortunate, how lucky we are about this decision or this opinion delivered by a judge, is that she, the judge, could really have dismissed the case just by telling the pursuer that she had no interest and no title, because we will see in a couple of minutes that it's all about constructing a claim by third persons and not by the pursuer. These are legal, very really thin aspects, but I hope to make it understandable to you in a few minutes. But again, to remind you what is an act of grace. An act of grace is defined in the dictionaries of law as a sovereign act exercised by presidents and monarchs which entails the suspension or reduction of criminal sentences and therefore a privilege compared to other criminals. The only other known act of grace is the award or recognition of privileges such as the bestowment of a peerage or knighthood with a certain order. So, act of grace, it's really something very, very unusual, actually. And within the law, it's a problem because it's outside. There is you cannot go to court and ask for an act of grace. There is no claim. There is no paragraph saying you can ask for that. Now, as I promised you, I will just tell you in a few words what baronies are, just to give you a definition, because then you will understand much better what we are talking about. A Scottish feudal barony is an estate of land. It's a property, it's land, yeah? Created by a direct grant from the crown. That's the important thing. The crown creates the land. As a liberum baronia, a freehold barony, by a special type of charter, because attached to the land, it confers rights and jurisdictions to be exercised on behalf of the monarch. That's what it makes it so special. It's not only the property, it's the one holding the property has certain rights, and it's exercised on the name of the crown. And what is this? It was this right of jurisdiction which ennobled the holder. The charter had two elements: the estate of land, if you like, the plot of land, and the baronial dignity. Both elements were a source of income and secured this at the same time the alliance to the crown. There were economical units, let's face it. You can earn money out of it, and they were bought and sold like, you know, a company. But with the title, with the estate came jurisdictions, right? So you know, the baron was able to sentence the vassals for minor, not for murder, but for minor offenses. And perhaps a more historical, not detail. In Scotland, the erection of feudal baronies started in the 12th century, during the reign of King David I, who granted such baronies on his Norman vassals, especially in reward for military service. To give you an idea how Scotland was organized at that time, in the 15th century, the Kingdom of Scotland had some 900 parishes for the church, and 869, so almost all of them, were held by baronial charter. So the whole of Scotland was really divided in baronial estates. Now, who is Lord Lyon? And I'm just looking at my yeah, okay. We know who Lord Lyon is, but he has the right since the 16th century to take. He has two offices. He has a ministerial or administrative office that has to do with the recognition of barons, and the other one, it's something people don't usually know, it's a judicial one. He is the only person in Scotland who decides about the change of surnames. So if you want to change your surname, you have to go to Lord Lyon. Now we're dealing only with the administrative part of his powers. And here we go. What the Hamilton did was they discussed for years and years with the different Lord Lyons. Since 2000, we have got 4 Lord Lyons, different Lord Lyons, and they didn't know how to make them automatically recognize the titles bought by clients. At a certain stage, I suppose somebody wasn't really very happy about having all these foreigners coming to Scotland, asking for, buying title and asking to be recognized. And so what they did was they tried to reduce the number of applicants and making it more restricted. Because Mrs. and Mr. Hamilton were not sure whether they will succeed in the future with selling these titles, they tried to do what is here. This agreement, I'm now really moving forward very fast, it's from 2008. And Mrs. Hamilton was already in court, challenging, at that time it was Lord Lyon Blair, challenging him because he didn't want to recognize Mrs. Hamilton. And what they did was they set an agreement, and the first 3 paragraphs, it's a sort of precondition to become the 2 important paragraphs here. It's 4 and 5. The first 3 paragraphs are done. Everybody fulfilled that. But the discussion came with paragraph 4 and 5. Paragraph 5 deals with the matter of jurisdiction. And as you know, in order to have jurisdiction, you have to have a domicile, you have to have a certain contact with the country. All these foreigners coming to Scotland didn't have any relation to Scotland. They didn't have a domicile, they have nothing. And for that reason, what they try is in 5 to get an automatic jurisdiction, which cannot be the case at the end. And in 4, what they try to do is to make sure that any applicants, any third party holding a title would be recognized as Baron of a certain place in Scotland. At the end, they didn't succeed because Lady Judge Wolfe stated quite clearly in the following terms that Lord Lyon, King of Arms, had a wide discretion, very as wide that she used the following words when it came to his position. It is hard to identify in modern times an exercise of prerogative power enjoying a greater degree of discretion than that vested in the Lord Lyon in respect of the grant of arms and titles. The breadth of the discretion the Lord Lyon has in such matters, which is almost unique, it's almost unique in modern context, arises from the origins and nature of his ancient office and the very particular character of the royal prerogative he exercises on behalf of the monarch. This is the essence of the whole opinion, and it clarified the interesting thing is that it's a 60 pages opinion, 60 pages. She did analyze the whole background, explain how Lord Lyon works, everything, and she said, yes, of course. When Lord Lyon recognizes you as a baron, then you are ennobled. But he has no obligation. Nobody on earth has a claim against him. Nobody can say, I've got the best title you can get on the market, you recognize me. If Lord Lyon doesn't want it, no chance. And what are the conclusions? You can buy as many titles as you like, but it's up to Lord Lyon to decide whether you will be ennobled or not. And it's from a jurisdiction point of view, for foreigners has become almost impossible to be under the jurisdiction, because before he decides, you have to be under the jurisdiction of Lord Lyon. And this is, by now, really, I would say, almost impossible. That's the words of the lady judge. She says it's almost impossible. And so, and this is my concluding words, Lord Lyon Innes, you might remember him, he was very keen about all these titles. Enthusiasm to revive both grant and arms as well as the recognition of noble barons appears to have come abruptly to an end, while Lord Lyon's undisputed right to exercise his royal prerogatives to both grant and recognize baronial noble status by an act of grace has been judicially confirmed, and there is no way to challenge that opinion, which is considered by now a decision, final decision on these issues. I thank you I thank you very much indeed for being so patient at this time of the afternoon, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much.
¿Están algunas preguntas?
This is it's unfortunate. I hope somebody would ask something, but fine. If it's so clear, okay, I thank you again.
Una considerazione. Parece una cosa mucho extraña esta idea de comprar baronías feudales. No es extraña. En toda Europa se vendía y se compraba títulos. Ahora se compra, lo digo in italiano perché non lembro come es en español, azioni e fondi. Es el mismo. Es un investimento financiario. Ed es el motivo porque el Lord Lyon non gusta de esto. Porque non se puede comprar e vender la storia importante de un país come es el Regno de Escocia. Non es hoy que la nobleza non esiste in República que se puede comprar o vender títulos nobiliarios. Es ridículo. Se debe tener respeto a la historia. Es una parte de nuestra persona por todos los ciclos del cristianesimo, porque el feudalesimo viene da Roma. E io sto sperando il signor Presidente della Reale Associazione degli Hidalgos, che fu